I gotta come clean, I gave up on Usopp too early. I thought there was no way that this would still become his arc, but this chapter recently has given me some crazy hopes. The Usopp agenda is alive. And I don't know who's more excited about the events of chapter 1172, Usopp or me, and you might be thinking, what do you mean, Manu? Barely anything happened in chapter 1172, and truly none of it was about Usopp. It was just a setup chapter, and to that I say, setting up for what exactly? And it's not just all the copium I've been huffing recently. I think we're in for an all-time run of chapters over the next few weeks now that we have all the pieces in place. Specifically, I think this battle's about to put the war in the warland Elbaf, not to be confused with the war god Elbaf. That was a totally different video we made. This battle between Elbaf and the Holy Knights will be the giant-sized battle I always thought was coming when the Straw Hats first set sail for the island that's been built all the way up since Little Garden almost 1,000 chapters ago. And moreover, I think that Usopp is gonna have a massive role to play still, just like we all originally hoped. I've been speculating for years and at length of what kind of crazy power-ups the Straw Hat Sniper might be getting, and my new favorite squirrel, Ragnar, just provided the perfect answer to that. Thanks to Ragnar, I'm actually gonna have to redo my entire squirrel tier list. Sorry, Conker and Rocky, you guys are gonna go down in the rankings a little bit. I had nearly given up on Usopp at this point, or more accurately, I'd given up on Elbaf becoming Usopp's big arc. It just kind of seemed like one of those poorly aged theories that I've held on for many, many years, right? Like most of the community has had, because when you've been theorizing as long as I have and been reading and analyzing the story, you know, as a job, which not sure if I should be proud of it, but it's been a lot of fun. Well, not all theories can be winners, and some headcanons just don't pan out in the end, right? And for this idea specifically, we have to go back to Whole Cake Island 10 years. Wait, 10? Whole Cake Island started 10 real life years ago? Oh, I'm getting old. Whole Cake Island was, of course, definitely Sanji's arc, right? His character was at the center of the entire story. He got a new family, a new shiny backstory, a fantastic raid suit, then he threw away. It was the year of Sanji, but with us heading to Wano afterwards, it just then made perfect sense to everyone in the fanbase that, would then be Zoro's arc. It was the land of the samurai, the sword place, and Zoro did have a couple of really cool moments. He got a great new sword, he wounded Kaido, but like, his family tree and the Shimotsuki heritage got relegated to being in the question corner of the volume. I was a little bit burnt by that, I gotta say, but I didn't give up hope. Elbaf could still be Usopp's arc. After all, the thing that he's mostly been wanting all series, ever since the crew met Dorian Broggy on Little Garden, was to finally explore the home of the giants and become a brave warrior of the sea. And then the actual arc started. And don't get me wrong, there is a ton that I love about Elbaf. I mean, there's my main guy, Loki. Freaking love that guy. My real life actual dad, Scopper Gaban. We've gotten introduced to the Holy Knights. Emu has pulled up to the battlefield. Even Robin got her classic haircut back in one of the all-time greatest panels of the story. Not to mention I've been feasting for the past year because in the flashback I even got my man Roxy Zebekov. Oh, and did I mention the mural and the robot lab and everything? But some other things just weren't exactly what I expected from this arc. And like, obviously Oda's job isn't to just fulfill my personal expectations every single time. In fact, I usually really like it when Oda completely throws me in for a loop and I'm unable to predict the entire story. But Elbaf felt a little bit different. We got the entire Legoland segment at the beginning that I'm still very much convinced has some deeper meaning somehow that I'm just not piecing together yet, or Oda was just a little bit too excited about the official One Piece Lego sets coming out. One of the two. Oh, did you not hear about the new Lego sets? Yeah, there's a second round coming for the new season of the live action, but you'd already know about that if you kept up with my weekly newsletter, the opinion piece, absolutely free over on the Patreon. And while you're there, if you want to support the channel, you know, we've got a lot of cool perks like downloadable artwork from our amazing art team, bonus videos, your name in the credits of every Ohara video, go check it out. Anyways, I think I'm not the only one who was expecting something different what Elbaf then ultimately delivered. Luffy and Usopp didn't get what they expected from the arc either. They were both ready for the giants of their dreams. Battle, war, conquest, and glory, or as I like to call it, Friday night, baby! But they were pretty surprised when the Elbaf children, except Colin of course, don't want to fight or be warriors at all. That's way too dangerous. According to Ripley, insults, violence, pillaging, war, that's just not the world we live in anymore. But the Elbaf that both us and Usopp imagined, that has changed apparently. It'll be really interesting to revisit the early parts of the arc because in a way, Harold's dream had actually come true at this point. They're not connected to the world government, but Harold and Ida's wish for a more peaceful Elbaf lived on in the next generation. The kids aren't learning to do battle anymore, they're getting a real education. How disappointing, but now that these kids' lives are being threatened by the Holy Knights and by Emu, the same dark entities that took their beloved king away already, the time for peace is now over, and it is time for war. Usopp has literal hard eyes about it because at long last, Elbaf is proving that a civilization can both be literate and go to battle crazy Viking style at the same time. Tons of the country's most powerful giants like Dorian Broggy have now been Domi reversed, so on the one side we've got them, the Holy Knights, and then Emo-possessed Gunko. On the other side, we've got Loki, the rest of the giant warriors, and the Straw Hats, and I guess Scopper. And while this might not exactly be Usopp's arc in the way that it, reintroduced parts of like a new backstory for Sanji and kind of revolved around retrieving him, I do think that he's now gonna have a big part to play in all of this. At the very least, he's gonna have a great moment here on Elbaf, but as the weakest dude on the battlefield of actual giants this time, how is he gonna do anything? What will be his great power-up, so to speak? Well, despite how sick the art of Usopp as a ripped and roided up berserker is, this is still Usopp we're talking about. Cunning and cowardly. To get rid of his cowardice is kind of a huge betrayal of his character. To make him super crazy broken strong, also a little bit of a betrayal of his character. His whole purpose in the show is kind of to show us true bravery by overcoming his overwhelming and very justifiable fear. He uses that slingshot because he is like David taking on actual Goliaths. He's weak, but through his wits and a bit of trickery and also a lot of training and getting some abs over the time skip, even someone like him, like us, can actually take out some real threats even in the new world. So to have his Elbaf moment, I do think that Usopp's gonna get a little bit help from someone specifically, Ragnar. Ever since Loki's hammer went absolute squirrel mode, lots of people have speculated that this little guy's destined to become Usopp's new weapon. Actually, the internet has been showing this image of a color page to prove that Oda's been foreshadowing this all along. While I gotta point out, not mentioning that the full color page actually looks like this. So I guess that every Straw Hat is getting a Ragnar. The case is though that he would be the perfect Ragnar wielder though. First off, he's got this big bag of pop green seeds, and what do squirrels eat? Seeds. And other than slingshots, hammers are kind of like Usopp's other signature weapon. Back on Alabasta, he pulled out his fearsome 5-ton hammer against Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas, but that was just 2 frying pans and a stick, kind of like stitched together. Then he whipped out the 10-ton hammer against Perone on Thriller Bark, but that was just a big balloon. But now he could have a real live giant, super heavy, giant-sized hammer that's not just a toy. It'll be absolutely sick. And if I can get a little bit theory pilled here for a second, it might be perfect actually, since Usopp was like the original de facto shipwright before they picked up Frankie, and Ragnar might just have been used by the Hammer Clan, the ancient Galele shipwrights that, built Pluton. So maybe Ragnar will help him and Frankie give the Sunny a massive upgrade since they're on an island made of atom wood at this point. But also sadly for every person who's on team Give Usopp Ragnar, there's also someone else who kind of shoots that idea down with a point like Ragnar already has an owner. Yeah, that's pretty valid. I mean, I'm not sure why Loki would give up Ragnar to some random guy he's never met. And there's also the Zunisha in the room, which is that Usopp is baby weak. He could never lived a Ragnar in a trillion years. It's a hammer literally made for ancient giant level characters. I gotta say, I'm not even sure a regular giant would be able to wield this thing, but I do think there is a best of both worlds here. I don't think Usopp getting Ragnar as a permanent upgrade, but I do think he could have an absolute iconic moment with Ragnar during the battle for Elbaf that could go down as an all-time greatest Usopp scene. You see, Usopp's not supposed to become this ultra-strong warrior type, I think, because if he did, that would kind of break his character arc. Because again, for me, I don't think that's what his character is supposed to be all about. Like, think about all those all-time great Usopp moments throughout One Piece, and they all go hard, but usually in an extremely funny way that also leads to him getting glazed and failing upwards, pretty much like Buggy does, right? Remember when he took down Sugar? On one hand, he makes a sniper shot that is truly one of the most astounding examples of observation hockey we've ever seen in One Piece, rivaling like what Shanks is doing when he realizes that Green Bull is kilometers away on Wano. But did Usopp actually shoot Sugar? Did he like sniper in the head? No, a big recreation of his own face popped out and scared her unconscious. And it's because he made the same face earlier in the arc that he freed all the toys and became revered as God Usopp. And he was held up by Hashiruden specifically, who is here in the assault against the Holy Knights. So I think that Hashiruden worshipping the god Usopp was just foreshadowing. Now, all of Elbaf will actually bask in his glory. There's also the fact that Usopp's lies do have this crazy tendency to always come true. You know about this? He lied about knowing giants, then he met Dorian Broggy, and pretty soon he might get a chance to lead an 8,000-man army and make that lie come true as well, but all of those hammers that he uses in battle are lies too, because they're not actually 5 ton and 10 tons respectively, because again, even with his post-time skip very impressive physique, Usopp is baby weak still when it comes to the average New World resident. But if Usopp gets to wield Ragnar, then that's yet another lie come true. And I can't say that this is 100% gonna happen, of course. This is One Piece we're talking about, and the story and Oda always love to surprise us. There are a million different ways Oda could have this battle unfold, but allow me to paint you a picture of my personal dream Usopp x Ragnar team-up scene. So sit down, kiddos, it's story time. All right. Just imagine it. Close your eyes. The island of Elbaf is in absolute chaos. Brother is fighting brother as the new giant warrior pirates clash against their Domi Reverseed kin. People are running to put out the fires that have broken out on the branches of the Atom Tree, and in the meantime, Loki and Luffy are giving it their all against Gunk Imu, or Imgunk, or whatever you want to call them. Usopp's been beaten and battered by one of the Holy Knights, and he just couldn't keep up with the immense power and strength of the combatants of Elbaf, who are known as the strongest warriors of the world. He's lying there, immobile, desperately wishing to get back in the fight. He's still clutching a handful of pop greens in his palm, ready to load into a kabuto, and up walks a giant squirrel who smells a very pleasant snack. Why is Ragnar not with Loki at this point, you ask? Easy. Imo and the Holy Knights might just knock Ragnar off the field in an attempt to put Loki at a disadvantage. Or maybe whatever Loki's zone form turns into just doesn't have opposable thumbs, so he can't actually hold onto the handle. Who knows? With tears in his eyes, Usopp pleads to Ragnar to help him rejoin the fight, to please help him stand so that he can fire his kabuto once again. And Ragnar sees the bravery in Usopp's eyes, the courage of someone who will keep fighting against the most impossible odds. That kind of was Ragnar's entire job in the treasure room. And so he takes Usopp's hand. Or alternatively, maybe it's Ragnar who's in need. Maybe he gets another big bonk on the head and Usopp tries to help him out by feeding him some seeds, Senzu Bean style, right? And in that case, Ragnar would return the favor by deeming Usopp worthy. And before Usopp even knows what's happening, that squirrel is a hammer and he's flying across the battlefield. Usopp's body is kind of ragdolling behind him and he's doing everything in his power just to hold on to the handle. But picture Hashruden's reaction. Picture all of the giants of Elbaf reacting as they see this. Usopp is leaping triumphantly into battle, swinging Ragnar. That is Elbaf's coveted weapon. It's the being that was tasked with guarding the national treasure of the island, Loki's broken devil fruit. And in hundreds of years, Ragnar had only ever chosen Loki, but now Ragnar's being wielded by this human. smaller than the hammer itself, but still able to jump across the battlefield to deliver some mighty blows against Domi Reversi giants and the MMA Dream Monsters. Now, we and Usopp know the truth. Usopp's not wielding Ragnar. Ragnar is wielding Usopp. But as far as the giants of Elbaf are concerned, this is God Usopp times 1,000,000 billion. Tales of his might will be passed down for generations. A moment so perfect it could still make Elbaf Usopp's arc, at least, a little bit. And if Loki does end up joining the crew, fingers crossed, still coping for that too, it would mean that we get plenty more Ragnar and Usopp moments in the future, even while Loki might still maintain his status as the true wielder of the hammer. Usopp might end up more as like a squirrel babysitter in this scenario, which some would argue is an equally important job actually. Or maybe Oda goes crazy and just gives Ragnar to Usopp, kind of like, Nami got the upgrade from Big Mom by getting Zeus. But this also kind of makes you wonder actually, who was the original squirrel babysitter? Has Ragnar been chilling in Elbaf's treasure room since the Void Century? And if so, what was he doing before that? I kind of have a feeling that he had a role to play in the war between Joyboy and Emu, right? Where we see a Loki-esque figure. So when he and Loki are gonna throw down with Emu, is Ragnar just gonna be like, long time no see, munch, munch, munch? Well, I have a few ideas about just how the Void Century might have gone down, and you can see what I think the full story is in this video right here. Otherwise, thanks for watching, thanks to all of our fantastic Patreons, and I will see you in the next video on Thursday.